Yeah, I feel
but
you.
we got Oakland Latinos United, and hopefully this is gonna work for me. And he's from. You gotta check out his channel. Oakland Latinos United is what it's called. He's been doing YouTube since just about it started 9 years ago, 10 years already, but he hasn't been doing it a couple of years. And Jose, tell us a little bit about the Oakland history and what you were trying to do by starting your YouTube channel.
Well, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Jose Lopez Rivera. I was born and raised in East Oakland, California. I was raised in the Fruit Belt District, which is the barrio of Oakland on East 7th Street in Jingletown. Many people from the Bay might know where that's at. But yeah, that's where I'm from. That's where my history comes from. That's where my culture comes from, basically. And yeah, basically, I started Oakland Latinos United YouTube page. Actually, it started as a MySpace page before that. It was
Okay.
a page just about the community in Oakland, and then it became a YouTube channel. And I basically my whole point was to document the, the culture, the history, and the political things that were going on in Oakland and the Bay Area. And another thing that made me inspired me to want to do it is that I was seeing that on YouTube there was a lot of African Americans who were doing things about the community, but when I looked for like Chicanos or Latinos or Raza, I couldn't find nobody.
Yeah.
And there was, like I told you before, there was Naui. There was a guy named the Unapologetic Mexican who's probably not around no more. There was another guy from Washington D.C. who was doing things, and just a few people here and there, but it seemed like nobody was doing it. So I wanted, a lot of things that were out there were about immigration. And, let's just face it, immigration's a big thing in our community because, unfortunately, our fucking government has considered our people, even though we're indigenous to this continent, they call
Yeah.
us illegal aliens, immigrants, even though we've
Yeah.
been here. We didn't cross no fucking border. The
Yeah.
border crossed us long time
Exactly.
ago. But
Yeah.
still, we have to deal with this bullshit now with this motherfucker Trump. We have to deal with that too. So we
Exactly.
have to. I wanted to go beyond just the immigration issue. Obviously, that's a big thing in our community. But I also
Yeah.
wanted to talk about the things going on in our barrios, in our community with the Chicano youth and young people. Unfortunately, we suffer from the problem with gangs. We suffer from poverty. We suffer from gentrification. We suffer from people going to jail, inadequate schools. And I wanted to talk about those things. The only thing that I regret about Oakland Latinos United is that I let it become way too political, and it took a very political turn. And
Yeah.
I actually got really tired of politics. That was the only regret. I
Yeah.
wish it could have been more than just politics, but like I said, I want to revive the channel. I haven't done a video since 2013. The last video I did was when Andy Lopez got killed in Santa Rosa, California. A 13-year-old who was shot down by a
Wow.
racist police officer.
Wow.
And I basically have revived the channel. I made a video today, and I actually gave you a shout out, and I
Okay.
gave Chicano Experience a shout out in the
That's
video.
what's
And
up.
in my first video since 2013, I did it this morning.
Dang, I gotta check that out. Uh, but what's it like for you being a Chicano, growing up and seeing the difference from Chicanos now?
From Chicanos then to Chicanos now, you mean?
Yeah.
I would say that the generation of today doesn't recognize the Chicano label anymore or use it as much as they used to in my days. In my days, I guess because when I was growing up, we were the children of the Chicano movement. We were the kids that were born from people from that generation of the Chicano movement, of the Brown Berets and all that. So that was instilled in us. We had that sense of Chicanismo. And then, I grew up around lowriders. I grew up around cholos. I grew up around not just that. I also grew up around Chicano intellectuals. We used to talk about, Chicano power and Cesar Chavez and all that.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of around us. So we embraced that Chicano kind of identity in the past, in the 90s and the 80s when I was a kid. But now it seems like now it's more Latino, it's more Mexicano, I'm Mexican, or I'm a Latino, or
Yeah.
it's more like that than Chicano. And I think we need to reclaim the word Chicano and embrace it and have pride for it for sure.
Um, tell me about how I seen you went to Colombia. You told me for 2 weeks. and you play the that drum. And what inspired you to play the drum? That drum.
You know what? I think I told you earlier, I always had a thing for Colombian culture, the culture, the music, the art, the women, and just Colombia in general always fascinated me. I was always fascinated with Colombia. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I just couldn't tell you. And I always just loved the music. The music is the shit. And, the music cumbia comes from Colombia. And the first time I ever heard traditional cumbia, which is more different than the modern cumbia,
Yeah.
I heard the tambora, with the drum you play with sticks, and I said, that's the drum I want to play. And one day I met a dude who actually knew how to play it and taught me how to play it, and it's been going on and cracking ever since. I play the tambora, I can play the congas a little bit. I play the shaker, which is called the maracas. I play the scrapers, which is called a guido. I could sing, I could do background vocals. So yeah, I'm basically a musician now, and just always loved the music, man. And I went to Colombia for 2 weeks. I went to Medellin, Colombia. It's a city up in the mountains. That's where the famous drug dealer Pablo Escobar was from. And, the people treated me good, man. They loved that I was Mexican visiting, Colombia. Like I told you, a taxi driver actually knew what a Chicano was, so that was kind of cool. So, yeah, I loved it, bro. And I love the diversity. You got the indigenous, you got the mestizo, and you got the black as well, the African. And that's a beautiful combination, bro.
What is it about? A little bit about the Oakland history. I know you got a lot of Oakland history on the Brown Berets, and I know you went pretty deep. You sending me a lot of articles, and what's a little bit about how long were the Brown Berets last in Oakland?
Well, the history of the Brown Berets starts with the murder of a guy named Charles Pinky de Vaca, and he was a Chicano who was murdered by the Oakland police in 1968. At the time, that's when the Black Panthers had formed in Oakland. They had formed in 1966 with Bobby Seale and Huey Newton. And there was a group of Chicano students who went to Merritt College, which was the same college where Bobby Seale and Huey Newton went. And they began organizing around this death of Pinky de Vaca, which was that young Chicano that was killed. Yeah. And they reached out to the Brown Berets in L.A., and that was Carlos Montes, David Sanchez, Moctezuma Esparza. There was a few Brown Berets out there that were doing their thing. And they talked to them, and they brought the concept back to Oakland, and they formed one of the first chapters in Northern California. I don't know if they were the first chapter in Northern California, but they were definitely one of the first out here. After that, the Brown Berets get a lot of patrols in the community. They protected people like Reyes Tijerina and Corky Gonzalez when they came to Oakland. And you got to remember, Oakland was a very radical town. Who didn't want to come to Oakland at the time? It was the home of the Black Panthers. It was the home of the hippies. It was all that stuff, bro. So it was like that's the place you wanted to be. And a lot of famous Chicanos came to Oakland. Even Cesar Chavez got his start in Oakland. That's something that people don't know. Yeah. He started in San Jose and in Oakland. You can look that up, bro, if you don't believe it. Yeah. And so the Brown Berets were around, and then another organization organized. They were called the Chicano Revolutionary Party, and they were strictly an Oakland group. And they were supposed to be like the vanguard. They were supposed to be like the Black Panther version of the Chicanos in Oakland. And both groups, they lasted roughly around 4 or 5 years. And then, because of the FBI infiltration, because of infighting, and because of other stupid shit, they just broke off, just like the Black Panthers did.
Yeah. And so, because the Brown Berets, all together, started in the 60s and ended in, the 70s?
They started, the first Brown Berets started in East LA in 1967. Yeah. And then in Oakland, they started in 68. And basically, the Brown Berets as a whole ended sometime around 1973, 74, roughly.
Okay, that was not even a full decade. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, not even the Black Panthers lasted that long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What happened with a lot of Brown Berets and Chicano revolutionaries, they went underground. So did the Black Panthers. Yeah. And they formed these underground groups. And a matter of fact, one group was called the Chicano Liberation Front, I believe. And they supposedly murdered the chief of police of Union City, which is a city in the Bay Area, by Hayward. 1975, I believe. He was named William Can was the name of the chief. And yeah, it was like crazy stuff going on back then, man. It was pretty
That
radical
is.
times in the Bay Area.
That's pretty interesting. Uh, Tell me about what you would like to see change and happen more in the Chicano Mexican community right now in this decade, at this time of change.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you very well.
What would you like to see change and happen amongst the Chicano Mexican community in this time of what's going on of this decade?
I want to see, if you really want me to be honest, I want to see our community come together. I'm tired of the divisiveness. I'm tired of for one, the Norte and Sur thing, man. We got to find some kind of unity around that, man. I mean, something. That is the biggest fucking genocide and division of our community ever, and we've been so fucking brainwashed by that. I mean, look, I grew up around Norteños. My brothers were Norteños. My whole barrio in Oakland was a bunch of Norteños. I know, bro, trust me. I grew up hating people from LA for whatever reason. It was like, fuck LA, I'm a Norteño, fuck that. And then one day I'm like, why the fuck do I hate them? Why do I hate a dude? Because he's a Sureño. One day I actually had a conversation with a Sureño, bro, and we fucking bonded, bro. We bonded like we were brothers, bro. The only difference was he was from LA and he talked Galo like, hey, Holmes, I'm from LA. And I was from Oakland and I talked in my Oakland slang. That was the only difference.
Yeah.
Other than that, bro, we were both Chicanos and we came from the same struggle. We both had moms and dads that looked the same. They went through the same shit. And there was no fucking difference. And I get very passionate at that because I'm so sick of that. We have to really break out of that, man.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but we have to, man. We have to find a solution to this. And not just that, beyond gangs, even within our community between Chicanos and Mexicanos and other Latinos, bro, we got to learn how to get along. There's a lot of classism in our community. There's a lot of racism within our people.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of colonialism.
I'm a
there's
US
a lot of
citizen,
colorism. You know.
so I'm better.
Yeah, if you're lighter, you're better. If you're darker, you're an Indian. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's true. That lighter, darker, even amongst our community.
I have more money than you, so I'm better than you. The classism.
Yeah.
You know, all these things need to fucking end. We need to figure out a way to coexist because this is what brings us down. This is why white people, black people, Asian people, they look at us and they think we're fucking stupid because we don't get along. We have to lead by example. That's for sure.
What do you think about?
You know,
what do you think about like? Doesn't it seem like I don't know if it's just me or does it seem like Mexicans straight from Mexico own more businesses than Chicanos possibly?
They're more like against us, you mean, or
No,
they're more?
They got more businesses, working businesses.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, in the old days, I do remember like some Chicanos having businesses here in Oakland. And a lot of times it was weird because they tended to be Chicanos not from Oakland, but Chicanos from like New Mexico and Texas, believe it or not. But yeah, a lot of like you know, Mexicans, Salvadorians, Nicaraguenses, you know, Colombians, you know, the ones that live out here. Because you got to remember, the Bay Area is very diverse where I live. You know, yeah, they all own businesses. There are some Chicano businesses, but yeah, you're right. A lot of businesses are owned by
even
like
out
people
here,
straight from.
like that's like.
But there are businesses. There are a few businesses that are owned by Chicanos.
Yeah, but like, because overall, when you see all these Mexican stores, grocery stores, and all these, they're mostly owned by like some Mexican or Nicaraguan straight from there. It never like. You don't see like as many like Chicano grocery people own. You know what I'm saying? You don't see a lot of our Chicanos like I'm owning this business or that business. It's pretty interesting.
You do see it, but it's rare. You know, the thing about us Chicanos, bros, we don't get into the business community as much. We get more into like working jobs and going to school and you know, getting jobs with corporations or something like that, or with the city or something. We tend to do that more, as a lot of Mexicans from Mexico, they tend to open up businesses, and you know, just people from other countries in general tend to do that a lot. Asians too. I mean, if you come to the Bay Area, Asians own a lot of stuff out here, bro.
Yeah. I just would like to see, like, Chicanos, we need to see what our Mexican brothers are doing to get these businesses started, because we got these so-called citizenships, and we're supposed to have a better class of living by that. And they're out here owning more businesses than us, whether if it's the lawn mowing business or these grocery stores. It's like, man, like I need to get my business up, my business game up.
The thing is, as Chicanos, bro, as Mexican Americans, we need to come up, bro. We need to come up with the ideas of how to open up our own businesses and how to run our own stuff. We need to go to school, and we need to, or learn our own, you know what I mean? One of the two. We need to have, like they used to say back in the day, you have to have ganas, you have to have the will, you want to do it. And we have to stop, we really have to stop playing the victim card all the time, and we really have to start taking what's ours, man, and going for it and wanting to be successful instead of wanting to be dead or in jail or fucked up in the street. We have to start thinking beyond that. That's just colonialism. That's just us being brainwashed that all we can be are gangbangers or cholos or drug dealers or when we can do way better than that. And we need to aspire, and we need to, how can I say it? We need to aspire and just reach out for that. We have to want it. You know what I mean? We have to want to open our own businesses, do our own things. For sure. And I agree. I think Chicanos and Mexicanos and Raza, bro, we gotta create our own money class for sure, just like Asians do and like other people do.
Yeah, well, I remember I talked about Chicanos, we need to get some unity amongst each other and gain some unity amongst our Mexican brothers and people. We need to gain ourselves up so when they come over here, re-educate them right. So not so they don't just fall into the gang path. I seen a video of where a Mexican, he came over here. They were they called him illegal immigrant. He was a part of one of the gangs in LA, and he killed somebody. And it just made me think man, our people that come over here. He was a young dude too. He was 16 or 15, and it's man, when they come over here, if we had more organizations amongst ourselves, to guide them to the right way, even to where if they were to get sent back to Mexico, we need to give them some knowledge to where they could start some businesses or organizations amongst our people over there, so they don't gotta run over here to think they need to be working in this system of the United States.
The sound for some weird reason is low. I don't know why. All right, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could kind of hear you, but let's keep doing it.
Yeah. All right, but that's just what I was just saying. We just need to have some more organizations amongst the Chicanos here, so we could, maybe give some better knowledge to our people when they come here.
Yeah, man. We gotta stop looking at people from Mexico as our enemies. We're all the same people, man. The only thing, we were born here and they were born there. Our experiences are different for sure, but at the end of the day, we're all the same people. And we need to start figuring out how we could get along with our brethren, basically, with our brothers from the other side. And when they come here, they need to understand that we're here and we're Chicanos, we're Raza too, and we don't have nothing against them. I don't have nothing against anyone from Mexico, as long as they don't have nothing against them from me, man.
Yeah. I mean, because even like you were saying, amongst our own community, when I walk into these Mexican stores or flea markets where they own the little swap meet stands, and I don't speak Spanish, and they look at me all crazy or what, and so we need better knowledge amongst ourselves too, so they could understand that these. This colonialism, is something that we need to teach ourselves amongst our people and stuff, so we could stop looking at each other differently.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, man, you should learn a little bit of Spanish, man. I know you don't want to, but it's good to communicate with them, huh?
Yeah.
And educate them about their indigenous roots as well, bro.
Yeah. I'm speaking to who I need to speak to. At times, if I got somebody hopefully that speaks Spanish, and then I'll have them do that, game them up. But I've been trying to write down Nahuatl words so I could understand it. Maybe I don't know how to read it, but I could see the word and be oh, I know what that means or something. But that's one thing that I've been trying to do on learning language. But
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, yeah, I mean it's important to learn Nahuatl and learn about our indigenous roots for sure. I have
yeah,
nothing against that, but unfortunately, our people have been, forced to speak Spanish, and
and
we
English.
have to learn it, bro. I'm glad I know it, bro. But
Yeah,
I would say try to learn it a little bit, bro, just to
yeah.
get
I used to
just to get
try.
around,
I
man.
mean, it's not. I used to try. Like I think I could I understand maybe because I've been around it. Like I could probably understand like some little stuff when someone's trying to ask me something or something. I'm not dumb or naive. But like I don't know. Now I don't really care too much now. Now that I understand that it really don't mean nothing. Like
Yeah,
I was like, man, screw it then. Like since I just really didn't trip these past couple of years since I really understood our culture. For me, like I mean, cause I seen a video right where somebody Louis Farrakhan.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he went
Of
to
course.
Africa. He went to Africa, and the guy told him, well, even though Spanish is not our language, but he told him like, man, you need to learn the language to speak to our people. And he was like, I am speaking the language to my people of who I need to talk to, of where I'm at and where I'm located. And it was just a good thought. Like it made me think about that too. Like I guess I'm here in the community of the hood of who all these people of who I grew up with, and I mean the homies and all that, and and I'm able to communicate, and so it made me think like, man, that's why for me it's like it don't bother me now to where it's just like I need to feel like I need to understand Spanish. I mean, I get it. Like it is better for me now that I understand if I learn it, so it is to communicate. But for me, it was just easier. Like, okay, damn. Now I don't feel like when people are trying to get at me for not speaking Spanish and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, in this time and age, bro, we have Google Translate and stuff like that, so
yeah, 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 yeah.
so
But
it's not
I
that
mean,
hard, man.
uh, other than that, I mean, what do you? Well, let's just talk about. I mean, not too much, but remember that post that I did just a couple of days ago, where I said like the way I wrote it. I just was a thought that I had. Like, how do you feel about us, hating amongst each other? But then you got like a white boy in our crew and our gang, and we call him our brother. He's one of us. But then we try to not teach our kids to be racist, right? But then yet, if you let them grow up with that gang mentality, because I've been around it, I've seen it, where they tell their kid, these people are not our people, they're in that gang, or they grow up like that. But then yet, we're not supposed to train our kids to be racist. I see that at the same time.
I mean, that goes back to what I was telling you earlier
Yeah,
about North
yeah,
and South. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
I grew up. I mean, growing up here in Oakland, growing up here in the Bay Area, Oakland, bro, San Francisco as well, Hayward, San Jose, Dakota, Concord. I mean, every city I went to, I would see the same thing, bro. I would see Norteños and Sureños, bro. Richmond as well. And I grew up around Norteños. My barrio, East 7th Street, was a Norteño hood, and the hoods around me, like Fruitvale, 38, 36, Quince, they were all Norteño hoods. This is all
yeah,
in Oakland. So this was all around me, bro, and I was taught to hate Border Brothers, which used to be a gang that used to be out here in Oakland. I don't know if you ever heard of them. And I was
yeah,
also taught to hate Sureños. So I was like, fuck Border Brothers and fuck Sureños. So
yeah,
I had that mentality at one point, bro.
yeah,
And like I said, it wasn't until I actually met a natural Sureño and we had a conversation with them, bro, that it was like, wow, we're the same fucking people. We have the only difference is he talks like he's from LA and I talk like I'm from Oakland. That's the only difference. Other than that, we're the same shit. We look the same, and
yeah,
and as far as going with the white boys, I mean, there's always going to be that one white boy who grew up in the hood, who's
yeah,
gonna, has no choice but to kick it with Chicanos or with blacks. So,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's a hard one to call, because if it is your homie, and he got your back, then it's hard to
yeah.
be
In the
like,
gang
fuck, I'm gonna let
way.
someone else kill him and not have his
Yeah,
back. You know what I mean? But at the same time, one thing I could take from a movie is don't hate your raza more than you love the gringo. Seriously.
yeah, Yeah. That's true.
I got that from the movie Zoo Suit. I don't know if you ever seen that movie.
It sounds familiar. I think so. I haven't seen
Old
it in a
school
while.
movie with Edward
It
James
sounds that
Olmos from
movie.
back in the 80s.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. But I mean, yeah, because I seen that conversation that was going on amongst everybody. I seen you seen it, that post that I did. It was a pretty,
Yeah, I
it was
posted a
pretty
little
good.
bit on that as well. I
Yeah,
remember some of
yeah.
your homies on there.
Yeah. It was just pretty
And you know, they
interesting.
just didn't get it, bro. When I
Yeah.
told them about colonialism, they were like, "Oh, colonialism, that was 500 years ago." I'm talking about what's happening now, where I'm at, and I could understand that. Yeah, the reality of what's going on where you're at now. Yeah, you're around the Norteño,
Yeah.
Scudeño, and the gang stuff. So that's your reality. That's what's
Yeah.
in your mind. That's what's been forced into your mind. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, for some of our people, they're just never going to get out of that, man.
Yeah.
But we need to learn how to teach them to either get out of it or teach the young coming up to fucking
Yeah.
ignore that shit.
Yeah. Like, especially, like, if someone from other cultures are in our organ, because, you know, blacks and Chicanos, we started these biggest gangs that are around the country, Bloods, Crips. So, like, even for us, for them, but, like, especially on us, on ours, and when we got people from other cultures or ethnicities in our gangs, they may not, they just see it, they're not really committing genocide, they're not killing their own people. You know what I'm saying? So they're not gonna understand, you know, like brown unity, Chicano unity, and brown berets
Yeah.
and all this. You know, like, you know, your people. You're not you're not killing your own people. You know, your family didn't grow up like this. Wasn't involved in it.
You know, I'll tell you an interesting story. One time, I met a dude who, when he was young, he used to kick it around Chicanos.
Yeah.
I believe he used to claim Norte at one point. And one day he went to the pen, and when he went to the pen, he had no choice but to ride with the white boys. So when he came out of jail, he was a fucking white prider, bro.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's always cultural. When these gangs, especially the way ours were between the Mexicans, the way they built them, they put a lot of our culture into it. The native, that so-called the Mexica culture, they put that, they influenced that amongst their organization of gangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing about that too. So, like, you know, like, some of these, like, people will not understand when they're from other ethnicities. You know, like, oh, we're just banging. Well, you don't understand, you know, our history and culture behind it and why it started and stuff.
I mean, some might understand,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
for the
yeah.
most part,
Yeah,
for the
I know
most
they're
part,
gonna
some of them are
understand.
probably just going to be in it because it's a form of protection. They're
Yeah.
going to be protected by a group of people and not going to get fucked
Yeah.
with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why a lot of people join gangs or hoods
Yeah.
or cliques or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, too. I get what people are saying on the gang aspect. I get that. But, like, I mean, I just gotta tell people when I talk to them now, you know, it's just like amongst our community, when I talk to my homies, like, I just talk to them in that way, too, you know. I gotta talk, you know. This is our culture. They're not gonna understand the deepness behind it of, you know, what
Well,
our
yeah,
people.
yeah. I mean, they're not going to
Yeah.
understand basically our struggle for
Yeah,
sure. Because
yeah.
because at the end of the day, they could be, you know, they could stop wearing the khakis and start wearing like white boy clothes and,
Yeah.
and become just guaritos on the
Yeah,
streets.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the establishment, as one would say, who was, I think the Black Panther said it best. They said about the hippies back in the 60s, they were like, yeah, they could come up to us and be our friends and say black power to the people. But one day they could just cut their hair, stop being hippies, and join the establishment. With us, we're black forever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it kind of goes into something like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. But what you got on some thoughts that you would want to say to the people, to the Chicanos listening, growing up? Some positive production words you got?
All I can really say, man, is you know, I taught myself about Chicano history because unfortunately our history is never taught. You know, especially Northern California Chicano history is never taught, and even Chicano history as a whole is never taught in the schools, in the media. You know, only in colleges. You have to be lucky enough to get to a university to learn Chicano studies. So, you know, teach yourself about your history and about your people, and don't let no one ever tell you that you don't have a history here. You know, if anyone tells you that, challenge them. And you know, aspire to be something great, man. Let's get away from the nonsense of gangs and drugs and and just negativity. Let's try to be positive and figure out how we could come ahead as Chicanos, as raza. You know what I mean? For the betterment of our people, for the betterment of our community. And also, I think you're right about the thing about owning our own businesses. Not only that, we need to start owning our own houses, because this is the thing that's affecting raza, is gentrification. That's something we're going to talk about, but gentrification is affecting a lot of raza in the Bay Area, LA, and probably in Sacramento.
It goes both ways.
That's because a lot of our raza don't own their homes, bro, and they get pushed out of their homes because the rent's raised to the point where they can't afford to be there, and that's how they want us out of there. That's their new gimmick to get us the fuck out of our barrios. And that's something that maybe we should talk about on another time. I could educate you more on it.
That's something we definitely.
It's happening bad in Oakland, in San Jose, and in Sacramento, and in San Francisco, bro, and in Los Angeles too.
See, that's two things. Because if our own people own our businesses, then and we don't sell out to that, there's nothing.
And houses.
And houses. Then there's nothing they could do, because we own our house that's right there next to our businesses. Or if we own the businesses, we're not gonna sell out to where our people, because the business owners could still sell out, and then it could still raise up the property by depending on the businesses on which they move in. So if we need a lot of Chicano businesses owning certain properties by certain Chicano neighborhoods. So hopefully they could try to keep that somewhat they need to be tied too, because then you gotta have Chicanos owning a certain amount of houses and all that. But
and if I could say more unity, more things, inspiring words, I could say us as Chicanos, we need to start to learn to get along with our brothers from the other side of the border that are here. We need to start, uniting with their cause as well, the immigration thing and all that. We need to start, teaching our kids about getting along with just our people in general. We need to break the fucking rules of colonialism, of classism, of colorism, and we just need to learn how to become one people and be united, man. And be, I always say, let's be like the Jews or like the blacks, man. And then what I mean by that is when you talk shit about a Jew or you talk shit about a black person, they organize. I don't mind nobody talk shit about them or they're scared to talk shit about them. See, we don't organize because we're so divided. That's why people can call us wetbacks. That's why Trump can say, I'm going to deport everyone. That's why everyone uses us as scapegoats, because they're like, those fucking Mexicans, they're not going to do nothing. What are they going to do? They're divided.
Exactly.
They're too busy fighting each other over red and blue.
That's why I was surprised, though, that they did have those big old rallies in LA and in San Jose and all those ones that happened last year.
Yeah, I'm saying we do have it, but we need to organize even more. We need to really just, we need to become this force where people are going to be terrified to say anything about us. The same way they're terrified to say anything about blacks or about Jews. That's how it has to be with us, bro. If when a motherfucker's going to make fun of us or say, fuck Mexicans or this and that, he better, I want him to be fearful that, these Mexicans are going to come after me, man. And I'm not talking about we're going to come kick your ass. We're going to come after you, financially, or we're going to come after you, your character.
Economically or something.
Prove that you're a racist piece of shit.
Exactly.
That's how we're going to come after you.
Yep, exactly. So
we need to organize, bro. We have a lot of work to do. And if I could say, just learn your history, aspire to be something great, man. Be successful and just teach the young the best you can, man. And let's get away from this norte sur and gang nonsense once and for all, man. We've been doing it for too long. We have to find something new, man.
Exactly.
For sure.
So you guys need to look at my subscriptions. I'm subscribed to Jose. Subscribe to Oakland Latinos United. Check out his videos and let him know. Leave his comments that you watched his video, and so check him out. Definitely, he got a lot of good information. He got a Immortal Technique, a little conversation with Immortal Technique, and a lot of history on Oakland and the Brown Berets. On we don't get our history and culture told about Chicanos specifically, and between the Mexicans. So other than that, stay brown out there, Chicanos, and Jose. What you want to say real quick?
I just want to say, man, like I said, I was one of the first Chicanos, Raza Latinos on YouTube doing my thing. I don't know if I was the first, but I was one of the first for sure. I could take that credit. And if I could leave with some words, all I can say is unity, organize, Mexica Tiawi, Chicano power, stay ground, and be proud of who you are, never be ashamed, and never hold your head down. Hold your head up always. You know what I mean? Always, for sure.
All right, it was a good conversation.
Yeah, man.
Some good thoughts.
I mean, you were one of the reasons why I want to do the Oakland Latinos United thing. You and Chicano experience, bro.
Okay, yeah.
No lie.
Yeah, all right. Let me know when you're doing more videos. I'm going to check that video out. And so, look at Oakland Latinos United. And good thoughts, good talk. And we'll do this again, definitely.
Anytime.
Yeah. Let me know when you want to do that talk for you. We'll do something even both ways on your channel too, if you want.
Yeah, man. I mean, next time I go out to Sacramento, maybe we could get together and we could do a little interview for my channel.
Yeah. All right, bro. I'll talk to you later. I'll hit you up. Be cool.
All right, man. Take care.
Stay Chicano.
All right. Wait.